Dear United Nations Council for Human Rights, from the start I like to take you to school at the university to see lots of good students in Rome, Pisa, Naples. This is the well-recognized national standard. I only ask you to pass the exams and to be a good student like them if you can. Later I will ask you something in conscience. What do you think? This is a denunciation of plagiarism, ideological intolerance and racism documented in the tapes of the lessons of the university. Introducing myself, a few years ago I wanted to organize a scientific experiment concerning a medical instrument. My intention was to correct a few imperfections of the instrument and distribute it free from royalties, but in Italy I couldn't do it. So I considered to find somewhere else the opportunity, and at one point I had a PhD opportunity to develop this tool at the Leeds University in England. But I couldn't even register to that university because the professor in the picture of my degree ceremony had wrote to the Leeds University that was not possible to confirm the legal translation of my degree with marks and made me do the impression of the impostor. In the same period, I had the passport stolen. I had to pay immediately for a new one, but the Italian consulate had replied only after 1 year, informing I was cancelled from the population list and was not to have a new passport, despite a few weeks before I have left Italy, the same office of the Police Questura of Milan was hand-delivering documents to my address with the signature of police inspector reporting my details, including the passport which was issued few months before by the same office. Now, dear United Nations, I'm not bothered about the passport, the degree. I do not want it anymore. I'm not bothered if I was made a paperless in the office with signature and stamps. If they could rewrite my life, this is honorable despite of persecuted. This kind of tradition of Italy is the best long-established tradition that ever existed on the peninsula, and we would be better to clear this kind of negationism rather than accomplish another genocide, a continuous genocide, again and again. What do you believe? Never happened before? Nobody has ever asked? The European Commission, Olaf, has sent a denunciation to the tribunal in Milan concerning my documents, and myself, I have made a denunciation to the tribunal in Milan and also Verona. And this story was also on the newspaper a few times. Was a simple obligation to provide the documents and was an obligation for the tribunal to investigate. But they cannot investigate everything. Takes time and may be difficult. Anyway, Italy and certified representative on the subject do not answer, but archive everything in the bin. Dear United Nations, also for the solicitor is clear. It is illegal and very strange to be transformed into paperless like this altogether, and nobody ever asked before for an explanation, but personally, for the solicitor would be a problem to denunciate a case of plagiarism, well protected and promoted by the university, also if for consequence some people become paperless. At this point, I'm not surprised for the anonymous accusations. I'm not surprised the police don't ask the anonymous any explanation, and I'm not surprised the police have never found illegal the situation of the passport and all the other missing documents, like the solicitor did. So, after what they've done, now they pretend the right to fear, the right to isolate and persecute me, but in the reality simply have to avoid the embarrass of a simple question they cannot answer altogether, professor and specialist they are. Dear sir, after all of this, I really have to ask a question, because I'm sure nobody would explain it, but everybody would understand it and feel horror understanding how many people, what a large number of people must have gone missing. Dear United Nations, the issue I ask is, how did Leonardo become Italian? Is this just a simple question, an innocent generalization? Before 1848, was never existed, not even a flag for Italy, nor an alliance to indicate the states of the Italian peninsula altogether. Then, in 1860, was made the unification of the country. How did Leonardo become Italian 500 years before Italy was ever established? Is that just an innocent generalization? Is it really innocent? And the Renaissance culture, that was a matter of conscience, that was made of Catholic heresy, was a revolution against the Roman Catholic oppression in science, philosophy, art, cosmology. How did it turn up to be Catholic tradition and intellectual pride for the Catholic persecutors? Can you read the Italian school books? Do you need an Italian certified interpreter from the Italian consulate to read it right? Was that another innocent generalization, like the Roman Greek you find in the Italian school books? Would you mind? I don't believe. Nobody has ever asked. How did every Catholic heresy be transformed into Italian Catholic tradition? At what cost is this silence? In conclusion, Leonardo and Galileo could not be Italian because Italy did not exist in practice, and the Renaissance culture cannot be intellectual pride of the Catholic persecutors, or eventually only concerning the part of censorship and inquisition, but not concerning the freedom of conscience, the cosmology, the scientific research, and the philosophy they still oppose and persecute today as heresy. Dear Sir, also the Last Judgment of Michelangelo is a fake. In the original painting, the deity were all naked, and today people pay the ticket to see the patches of the Catholic censorship. Is there any note to inform the people of the plagiarism of this famous painting? Meanwhile, the professor of the Institute of Italian Culture always found the documents and references to organize the Catholic propaganda in Italy and abroad, in your university, to believe Italy is a country of scientists, artists and inventors like Leonardo, Galileo, Michelangelo, with lots of glory, pride and intellectual tradition. But in the reality, it is simple. You take the freedom of conscience as a reference point to read the Italian culture, you realize immediately a large number of people is missing, 150 years of genocide since Italy exists. It is sincerely not possible to believe nobody has ever asked how did the Renaissance culture turn up to be Catholic tradition. Only a Catholic can believe it. This is the same brainwash of Mussolini, the nephew. Dear United Nations, no common sense and no civil rights is the standard. This is a matter of negationism, like has happened for the Jew and many more people with the Jew, starting from the liberal, the Democrat like Garibaldi, but also the socialist, communist and anarchist before and with the Jew. But what was the point in common between the Renaissance culture and the Catholic tradition if was not the censorship and the stake of the Inquisition? Remember, the liberal, Democrat, socialist and the Jew are still a better company than you.